Hello everybody. So today we are going to choose an image and put the image that was shot on a gray to white background onto a silhouette white background. So as you can see here, I have three images to choose from, and I'll just show you them because these are the ones that were given to the class. So you can see the first one, the light wasn't quite right. The second one, there was some darkness in this area over here. And then this was the third one. So I'm going to end up processing this one. So I'm going to export it to Photoshop. You don't have to do this step because you have JPEGs and you can just open up your JPEG straight into Photoshop. And if you just hold on a second, it's going to import to Photoshop. And here we go. So here's the image, and we need to get it onto a silhouette white background. So the first thing we need to do is to select this bag and to get it onto its own layer. To start off with, I'm just going to choose my wand tool, which is right here under the quick select tool. And my tolerance right now is set to 5. I'm going to crank it up to 32, which is what the default settings are in Photoshop, because that's pretty much what you'll be starting with. And I want to make sure that sample all layers is checked on. And I'm just going to click here. Oh, see, so it's making a pretty nice selection. I'm going to hold down Shift, and when I hold down Shift, you see I get the plus sign. Get this area, working around the bag a little bit. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to zoom in, and I need to shift click this area to get this white area, but oh look, when I shift clicked it started bleeding into the bag, so I'm going to Command Z, and I'm going to crank down the tolerance a little bit, and then I'm going to click Shift again. And see, now it's picking smaller portions. So what tolerance does is that it selects this amount of colors away from where you clicked lighter shades and darker shades. So before I was at 32, so when I clicked over here, it clicked 32 shades lighter and it added 32 shades darker. So when I switched it down to 11, it only added 11 shades lighter and 11 shades darker from where I picked. And that's how you adjust your wand tool. I'm going to shift click over here. That did a pretty nice job. Oops, Command Z. I want to zoom into this area, see what's going on here. See over here, it bled a little bit into the bag as well. So I'm going to use my wand tool and I'm going to Option click this area here and see if I can't get that. I see I was a little bit uncareful. So I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to do Command D. And instead of starting all the way out here and worrying about these areas, I'm going to do a little trick to help me isolate just the bag. I'm going to choose the lasso tool, L, and this is the polygonal lasso tool, and I'm just going to go around the bag so that now I don't have to worry about all those areas on the outside that we were missing before, like this area and this area up in here, this. So now we're starting with a smaller selection. I'm going to choose my wand tool now, and now I'm going to Option click, and I'm going to start going around the bag. Only this time I'm going to be a little bit more careful, especially around here. I'm going to zoom in to make sure that I'm not picking up the insides of the bag, and that's a much better selection than what we had before. Option, good, good, that's working out well. Good, good. Moving over here, Option, and I'll go in here, take that part, this part, and this is working out pretty well. I'm not bleeding into the bag at all. I don't have to keep adjusting my tolerance. It is working pretty well. Coming around the bag over here. Option to take away this area. Good. Let's see what that'll do. Oh, that worked out well. And I'm going to go in here. I'm just option clicking to take away all of this gray area so that hopefully I will only have my bag selected. So that's a little bit of a tricky area. We'll leave that alone for now. I'm going to click over here. That worked out pretty well. Up here, I'll give that a little click. Option, 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 option clicking here, option clicking here. That did a nice job. Option click up here. Good. Moving over to this side. Option. So you see, unlike the first time, I'm being a little bit more careful of when I option click to check that it's not bleeding into the bag. And now all of these little areas, I don't really want to go ahead and option click every little tiny thing. So instead now, I'm just checking. I got mostly everything I need. It's pretty good selection. I'm going to zoom in. Now I'm going to switch over to my marquee tool, and instead of option clicking, I'm going to option marquee, and I'm going to just select this area out. Because if I keep on selecting option with the marquee, I might start picking up some of those pink shades that are the same tonal values as these grays. So I'm going to just come up here now, see if there's any isolated pixels here. Nope, this looks pretty good. Oh, there, M. I'm going to option click these. They're gone now. This looks pretty good. So I am very, very happy with my initial selection here. Double hand to zoom out and fit the screen. And I have a great selection of my bag, but we could take it one step further and click on any of the selection tools up here to make the Refine Edge button pop up. I'm going to click here now, and it's showing me the edge on a black background, but I could always look at it on a pure white background, or I could look at it as pixels or marching ants or on a layer. But I think this is a good way to look at it. I'm going to zoom in by clicking Command plus, and that didn't work out too well. It didn't move for me. Let me see if I can, yeah, there you go. Command plus will let us zoom in, and I'm going to move down to the bottom of the bag here because I'm not in love with this area over here. Oh, I accidentally ran my I guess I made some brush strokes. I'm going to cancel out real quick. I'm not sure what I did there. It looks like I made some brush strokes that I didn't mean to do. And we're going to go right back in, Refine Edge, and I'm going to switch it to look at it on a white background. And I'm going to tap out over here to close the view mode down. Now I'm going to crank up the smoothness. I'm really looking at this area over here. I'm going to feather it just a little bit. And good. And now I'm going to maybe get this. I'm going to click this. I'm going to double click this icon, this little arrow to get it back to its original spot, which I think is supposed to be 0. And I'm going to switch it to, see, this is contracting the edge or adding to or expanding the edge. I want to see what that looks like. So expanding it and contracting it. Just look at the edge over here, we'll see. So I think that contracting it a little bit worked out pretty well. It kind of softened up the edge there. Let's take a look at these other areas. And that looks pretty good too. So now that I didn't mean to do that. I just swiped my brush. Okay, and it just went away. Good. So when I go to the output area here, I'll leave it to output new layer with a layer mask, just in case I made any boo-boos. And I'm going to click OK. And this looks pretty good. So now I am going to choose the background layer and go down to the bottom of the layers panel and choose solid color, and I'm going to make sure that it is white by clicking over here, and that's how you get your accessory on white. Once you get your accessory on white, you might notice that what was once shot on a gray background and looked like a good exposure is no longer a good exposure. The bag does look a little bit on the dark side. So you could go right in here to your curves adjustment layer and lighten up the exposure a little bit, and I think that looks a lot better. Maybe I'll crank it down just a little. There you go. To give it just a little bit more lightness to the exposure so it doesn't look like it's so dark. Okay, and the last thing I want to do is choose this background, the background copy layer, and it looks a little bit distorted to me. So I'm going to go ahead and click Command T, and I'm going to hide this over here so you can see with me. And I'm going to click Control while I'm in the transform box, and I'm going to choose perspective first. I think this is just a perspective issue. Yes, look at that. And I'm going to just check a line down here. That looks pretty good. I'm going to do just a little bit more. And then I'm going to click Control to get my transform box free transform, because my perspective looks good, but then I lost a little bit of the length. So I'm just going to expand it back out so I don't lose any more length. And I feel like this edge might be coming up a little bit, so I might click Control one more time and choose Distort, and this time I'll bring just this edge down, and that just feels a little bit better to me for some reason. But maybe I went a little bit crazy. So I'm going to also skew it up a little bit. There we go. So I think this is a better rendition of the bag. We'll check it against the original before. So that's so that's what it was, and that's what it is. It's not too far off, but I think it is a little bit straighter. A little more pleasing to the eye. So that's the end of this video on how to get your accessory onto a white background. Thank you for watching.